This next law is called Avogadros Law. Right? We remember Avogadro? 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. This is the relationship he was working on when he was working towards that number. I don't know if you remember, but Avogadro was doing a lot of research to try to figure out how many atoms were in a sample, and then he died, and then his assistant figured it out using his data, and they named it after him. Well, one of the equations he's famous for figuring out is that as volume and moles change, they're proportional. This actually makes perfect sense. I'm going to ask one of you. Let's see. Carmela, if you have a balloon and it's this big, and you blow more air into the balloon, what happens to the balloon? It expands. So more air makes the volume get bigger. And if you let the air out, what happens to the balloon? That's what this equation says. If you increase the moles, then the volume has to increase. And it's going to be measured in moles. So everything is going to be measured in moles. If you have a reaction occur, you might have to do some simple stoichiometry to figure out the moles. In this example, we have 12.2 liters of 0.5 moles of oxygen, O2. The oxygen is converted into O3, which is ozone. That's the formula for ozone. Ozone. No, ozone's right. And so the ratio between oxygen and ozone is a 3:2 ratio. So I said the 0.5 moles of oxygen, 2:3 ratio, would give me 0.3 moles of ozone. That's when we did stoichiometry in Chapter 9, just converting from one compound to another compound. We use those coefficients. You won't always have to do stoichiometry for a question like this, but it does occur. So I want to make sure you saw one in the notes before you get to the homework. So then we identify our different pieces, and we don't know the new volume. So the equation V1 over N1 is equal to V2 over N2. I'm going to rearrange that for volume 2 and cross multiply the N to the other side. So it becomes V1 N2 over N1 is equal to the new volume. What do you expect to happen to the volume here? What's happening to the moles? Are the moles going up or down? We're going from 0.5 to 0.3, so are the moles going up or down? They're down, so what should happen to the balloon if you let some air out? It should go down. And whether it's being let out or the gas is converting into something else, the amount of matter is changing inside. And so my volume is now 8.05 liters. 8.05 liters. So it did decrease significantly as it was converted over. This reaction doesn't happen easily. Do you know when oxygen's converted into ozone? It happens with static electricity a lot. Or lightning bolts more specifically do it a lot. They'll convert a lot of oxygen into ozone because they break the bonds apart with all that energy, and then when they reassemble, they'll do it any which way they can when they reassemble, and there's two options, going back to regular oxygen or going to ozone. So you get a significant amount of ozone. So if you ever encounter a lot of sparks or a lot of, arcing, like an arcing spark if a wire's loose or something, and it smells a little funny, it's probably ozone.